Fear not, Bruins fans, for Patrice Bergeron is doing just fine. The captain scored 4 goals in last night's 5-1 win over the Detroit Red Wings. Going to talk about that on today's episode, as well as be joined by Mer Zylberberg for the latest This Week in Hockey. Let's get to it, shall we?
You're Locked On Bruins, your daily podcast on the Boston Bruins. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Bruins fans, and welcome back to the Locked On Boston Bruins podcast. I'm your host, Ian McLaren, and this is a daily show where we discuss all things Spoke to Be, as well as take a look around the NHL. Today is Friday, November 5th, and I want to thank you for making Locked On Boston Bruins your first listen every day. We are free and available on all podcast platforms, so if you're an Apple user or if you're an Android person like myself, subscribe on whatever podcast app you use: Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, Odyssey, Pocket Casts. Each new episode will be automatically added to your feed for you to download, listen, and enjoy. If you could also rate and review, that would be super appreciated, especially if you're an Apple user. If you're on Twitter, Instagram, you can find the podcast at ENC McLaren. At Locked NHL Bruins. You can find me, my dad jokes, and hockey tweets at ENC McLaren. I should mention the podcast is also on YouTube, so you can get a glimpse into my home on a daily basis. Hear the cat in the background. And subscribe there as well. You can comment, we can get some conversations going there. Drop the odd post-game reaction as well. Speaking of post-game reactions, I popped up one last night on YouTube. Very thrilled with the result last night. The Bruins took care of the Detroit Red Wings by a score of 5-1. And a lot has been made of the lack of power play success this season, as well as Patrice Bergeron's slow start. Both of those things fell into place last night, prompted by, or perhaps preceded by, Patrice Bergeron working on his bumper position earlier in the day. A lot of the Bruins took the option to not come out for the pregame skate, but Patrice Bergeron was one of those who came out, took to the ice for some extra work, and took some shots parked from his familiar bumper position, taking feeds from assistant coach Joe Sacco in practice, burying one after another. And it proved to be some good foreshadowing, because that night, Bergeron erupted for a franchise record-tying 4 goals. First 4 goals of the season. Second time he's done that in his career. 3 on the power play from that exact spot. And then another at even strength to give the Bruins the 5-1 win. The other goal came from Mike Riley, his first in black and gold, and that one was scored shorthanded. Brad Marchand said he's worked on it a ton. That would be Bergeron, quick release from the bumper position. He spends a lot of time before practice, after practice, getting in that spot. He spent years taking shots before and after practice, so it's been a long time in the making. Basically, he's put in his 10,000 hours from the bumper position. Marchand calls him the most dangerous bumper guy in the league now because of it. He worked tremendously hard, as he does at everything, and he worked himself into the best bumper player in the league. Got to give him a ton of credit there. He's a threat now, even 5-on-5, because he's worked on it. The amount of goals he scored every year from finding that hole is very impressive. Now, everything that he did last night was impressive. It was his 7th career hat trick. And it was the 5th time in Bruins history that a player has recorded a hat trick at 36 or older, joining Johnny Busick, Jean Rattel, Dick Clapper, and Dave Andreychuk. And he is the 12th oldest in league history to score 4 goals. It was also the second natural hat trick of his career. Marchand said the obvious. He's such a dominant player. He's had a lot of good looks earlier on. Sometimes they go in, sometimes they don't. Everything he touched last night went in, and when he gets on a roll, he really gets on a roll. Again, he entered the game without a goal through his first 7, but now he sits in a tie for the team lead with Brad Marchand at 4. And, as Bruce Cassidy said earlier this week, he wasn't very concerned about the captain and his production. Too good of a player to keep down for that long. The whole line is the same way, and it'll be nice to see David Pastrnak kind of break out here sometime soon as well. Bergeron, for his part, said it's one of those things where he's been in the league long enough to know that it's going to come back, the goal scoring. He also won 16 of 19 faceoffs last night. He has the experience he can rely on. It's about making sure you don't force plays, don't try to think about the end result, but just going back to the details and begin to play the right way, put yourself in a good position. Obviously, you want to produce, but he's the kind of guy who obviously helps the team in many different areas. He said, sometimes you have to take a step back. His game is not just about scoring goals. You have to go back to what you want to do to help the team win. Do those things and worry about details, and the rest will fall in place. It was a perfect performance for the captain, pretty much. Really easing any concerns about his longevity or, his slow start to the season. He's very much still the same guy, and there's really no reason to worry about Bergeron at all. Jeremy Swayman played well in net, kind of rebounding from a couple of losses after winning the season opener. He wasn't tested very much, but it was nice to see him get back in the win column. But again, the biggest story on the night was Patrice Bergeron breaking through, getting those 4 goals, and he now, like I said, sits in a tie for the team lead in goals with Brad Marchand, 5 points back of Marchand for the team lead, who now has 12 points through 8 games. Really would like to see David Pastrnak get going a little bit. He leads the team with 33 shots on goal. That's 11 more than Bergeron and Matt Grzelcyk. Only the 2 goals to his credit. And hopefully he starts to break out as early as Saturday night against the Toronto Maple Leafs. We'll talk about that game and some other stuff here in a moment, as I'm joined by Mer Zylberberg for This Week in Hockey. But before I get to that, a quick word about Built Bar. Now, we all love Thanksgiving, all the good food and treats. There's plenty of it to go around, but maybe you want a yummy dessert that isn't so full of calories and sugar. It's the perfect time for Built Bars. Built Bar is the new holiday dessert. You can feast on something delicious and feel good about it. 1 slice of pie has about 300 calories, and that's on the low end. Most Built Bars are only about 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, plenty of protein. You can replace your coconut cream pie with a coconut Built Bar or a raspberry Built Bar instead of a raspberry pie. Lots of good flavors to replace any Thanksgiving dessert. They're low calorie, low carbs, low fat, high in protein, and they're covered in 100% real chocolate. So you can get that, treat type dessert feel after your Thanksgiving meal. Go to Built.com, use promo code LOCKED15, and you will get 15% off your order. That's promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at Built.com. Also, mark your calendars because Black Friday will be a huge event with all sorts of surprises over at Built.com, and you are not going to want to miss it. I want to thank you again for making Locked On Boston Bruins your first listen every day. We're free and available on all podcast platforms, as well as on YouTube. And having said that, let's jump into the latest This Week in Hockey with Mer Zylberberg. How's it going, Mer?
Hey, good. I don't know if we have anything to talk about. Not much is going on in the world of hockey.
Not at all.
No.
What's going on your Friday morning?
Oh, just getting some work done, getting my workout in. It's gotten chilly here in New York, so that's
Yes,
all.
it is chilly up here. I'm rocking a toque, as you can see. It's toque season for sure.
I did that this morning, wore my Leafs toque / beanie to school drop-off.
Leafs Bruins tomorrow night. I think it's the first time in like
a while.
I saw it this morning, like 773 days.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
I believe it's the first meeting in the history of our friendship as well, which could be interesting.
Yeah, nope, that's true. It's our first, and I was thinking this morning, it's a very timely this week in hockey since we are actually, for the first time since we've been doing these, playing each other.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I actually was looking because there are tickets available for Leafs games these days, which is kind of rare. But
you're gonna try to go?
Yeah, I thought about it, but it's a little out of my budget. I did get a full year of the NHL package plus all baseball games, some Raptors games. So all of that for a whole year is cheaper than buying two tickets to
the game,
one Leafs game, which is...
Well, the Leafs play here in 2 weeks at the new Islanders Stadium if it's open.
That hasn't opened yet.
No, it's supposed to be, and they're supposed to play at it in 2 weeks. And so I am considering if I want to venture out into Islanders land again for a game.
Wait, have they played every game on the road to start the season? Are they waiting to... Oh, wow.
Think so. Or maybe they started at the Coliseum and then went on the road, but they've been on the road for
I think they have.
It's like I don't know if they have stretch. They've been on the road.
Is the new rink a lot further than
No, it's the same. No. It's the same distance, just in a different direction.
It's closer to the city, though?
It is closer to the city.
Very cool.
It's closer to the city, and it is like 20 minutes from me. It's not far. So we'll see. I don't know. I'll make a game time decision, if you will.
What are what are tickets going for in that new
building?
Well,
that's the other thing. If I get face value, they're much pricier than they were at the Coliseum. But if I get them on StubHub, they're not so bad. So we'll see.
Yeah, even StubHub was pretty...
well, for Leafs tickets, in Toronto.
Yeah. I remember one time in college, a buddy of mine and I, we went downtown on a Saturday night to try to get scalper tickets.
Oh my God. Do they still do that?
I don't know.
You're right. You're old.
I'm aging myself a bit here, but
you're old. Okay.
We even we're still trying to go around after the game had started, almost halfway through the first period, and they were still asking for $100 a pop. So we just ended up...
I should check the Leaf schedule for when I'm in Toronto in December and see if there's any games I can get to.
There must be, yeah. I'm hoping to go to a game. There's a couple games in Ottawa around the holidays, Bruins, and they're really cheap there. Now.
Let's see.
So I'm excited about that.
Anyways, yes, we play each other tomorrow. Who's going to be in net for the Bruins?
It will be Linus Ullmark getting the start.
Okay.
And where are the Bruins and Leafs in the standings as of right now? Both teams
the Leafs are ahead of the Bruins.
In points or everything?
Okay. Okay. Here we go.
Point percentage. Oh, wow. So after last night's win.
Oh, the Leafs play Pittsburgh at home on the 29th. And last time I saw the Leafs play at Scotiabank, it was Pittsburgh, and it was a shutout. I should go to that game.
Hopefully, Sidney Crosby is recovered
they
from
play Ottawa on the 1st. Okay, anyway, sorry. Go on.
Hopefully, Sidney Crosby's recovered from his bout with COVID by then.
Okay, so Boston leads in points percentage.
Well, yes, right now Boston sits in 5th in terms of points, tied with Detroit. 3 points back of Toronto, but they have 3 games in hand. So
yes. Okay,
point percentage, the Bruins are actually 2nd in the Atlantic right now.
La. Okay. Anyways, it should be a fun game.
It should, yeah.
And
I'm excited.
The Leafs pulled out a win last night in the last. It was a pretty unbelievable. It was a good game overall, I felt, but the win was pretty cool because they were down 1-0 for almost the entire game. Mm-hmm. Jack Campbell had highlight reel saves left and right. And then they scored with 30 seconds left to tie it. And then they won in overtime.
Now, I saw that hit on Mitch Marner. Is he injured or no?
I don't believe so. No. Not that I've seen. I mean, he kept playing.
Right.
He played the rest of the game. Did they announce if they were going to review it?
I think there will be a hearing for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll
that
see.
was a pretty that was a pretty bad hit.
I didn't see it till after, but yeah, it wasn't
gross.
Wasn't great.
Kind of gross. Yes, the NHL Department of Player Safety will hold a hearing with Sergachev about Mitch Marner, but I don't think he's injured. I mean,
so it should be full lineup. Nick Ritchie, Andre Kasha, revenge games perhaps.
Yeah. Let's see.
There will be no Nick Foligno in the lineup for the Bruins, so he won't be able to.
Is he injured?
He is injured. Yeah, he got injured in like the first game of the season.
Oh,
that's too bad.
Yeah, we like Nick Foligno.
I guess one thing we've talked about for a while that finally has some resolution is the Jack Eichel situation.
Eichel. My God. I mean, Vegas is a good for him because that's a better team than some of the West Coast teams he was in the rumors about.
Yeah, for sure.
Vegas clearly won that trade. But, I mean, he's free now and can get that surgery. Right.
The bigger win for sure is that Eichel can now get the surgery that he wants for his neck.
I can't believe they're actually human beings because I got some replies on Twitter saying like he shouldn't get it. The team owns him.
That's ridiculous. Yeah.
Like,
I mean, yeah, it's so murky when it comes to that because like, yeah, there are some, obviously they hold his contractual rights. There's, players aren't, when a guy wants to join the NHL, he's not just like free to play for whoever he wants.
Right.
The whole draft process and like restricted free agency and crap like that. But when it comes to like, I get that in terms of owning quote unquote his rights and you can't just play for whoever you want, like in the open job market. But when it comes to like your health,
your bodily autonomy.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, although, I mean, it's interesting because the flip side of that is obviously going to be the people who are like, well, then how come they have to get vaccinated? But that's different. So whatever. Let's not have that argument.
They don't like have to. There's obviously one guy who hasn't.
That's true. They don't have to.
Yeah.
And also it impacts other people in a way that it impacts other people's health or potential health in a way that Jack Eichel getting knee surgery doesn't.
Right.
Or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So resolution to that. Good for him.
I'm glad he's out of the East for sure. It'll be good to not have to play him so many times. And Vegas could be, their whole top line right now is injured, but once they are back, it could be a pretty scary.
I mean, they're in serious cap hell. And as a Leafs fan, I'm familiar with cap hell. And they're
going to have to make some
serious
moves
cap
for
hell.
Sure.
But that's their problem, not mine. So.
I guess I mentioned COVID earlier. That's still a thing. I was reminded of that last night with Tyler Bertuzzi. He's like the only guy who hasn't gotten vaccinated.
Yeah. And
Penguins have been hit pretty hard.
Yeah, has COVID.
Crosby, their coach. So it's definitely, I don't know.
Still going around.
It seems like hockey is more of a, just because they're like indoors.
Yeah, maybe that's it. I know that like where I am in general in life, like numbers are trending down. It's not as many people, knock wood, seem to be catching it. People still are, but not as many. Thankfully, most of the people who do get it aren't as sick, which is a good thing. And even the players, we see them come, like Nathan McKinnon was out on COVID protocol and came back. Like, hopefully, it keeps trending in that direction. But maybe that's it. They're indoors. They travel a lot. So there's just a lot of touch points and
protocols are a bit not lax, but like,
definitely more than they were. Yeah.
People don't
also like, is there a requirement that family members get vaccinated or no? Because like,
I'm not sure.
I feel like there are a lot of spouses in the NHL who might not be pro-vaccine.
Right.
So that's another way that like
and their kids as well.
Right. So little kids just were approved and a lot of them have babies. I don't know. A lot of ways for them to potentially get it. And hopefully, it continues to trend down, but also if they do get it, they don't get as sick and they can get back to playing.
You see a lot of people like, oh, how can they get it if they're vaccinated? Like
because people
still don't get that it's not a cure.
People
for the
are
virus.
stupid and don't understand how vaccines
Yeah.
work.
Like it's still gonna happen, but hopefully, yeah, the symptoms are less. It's
right,
like
and
not as
fewer people
serious.
get it.
Blah blah blah.
That's
So,
anyways.
before we get to like the bigger stories, I don't think we've talked about the Kyle Beach stuff since that all came down. But before we get to that, I just need to talk for a moment about BetOnline. It's the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports. They're back and better than ever with a new web interface for the start of basketball and hockey, your number one spot for all things football as well. You can head over there on your computer or mobile device and sign up today for a free account and receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit by using promo code LOCKEDON. Again, the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports, all the odds and props that you can find out there. And get that 50% welcome bonus by using promo code LOCKEDON. So, Chicago Blackhawks, Kyle Beach, Brad Aldrich. I don't think last time we did This Week in Hockey, it was before the investigation stuff came out.
Mm-hmm.
A lot has happened since. First off, like, I'm assuming you watched the interview, and what were your kind of initial thoughts about Kyle Beach coming out? And
I mean, I tweeted this too. Good for him, but also he never should have had to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he shouldn't have to come out and talk about it. He shouldn't have been put in that position, but good for him for having the strength of character and bravery to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the heart-wrenching piece of that was how responsible he feels for the younger John Doe who went through this. And, none of that is his fault and none of that is on him. And it's just such an overall failure of the system and an intentional failure. Like, it's not even like a mistake. It's like an intentional failing of these young men. And I just, it's so good for him, but it's so awful. And then the whole NHL freezing out Rick Westhead from asking questions. Like, this whole thing is gross.
Yeah.
It's gross.
I mean, unfortunately, like you said, it kind of, not that he had to reveal himself, but like they didn't redact enough in the investigation report to, like, if you wanted to, you could use the process of elimination and figure out who it was because of the details in the report. He still didn't have to come out, but that interview was like unreal to watch. And like you mentioned, that part where he apologizes was heart-wrenching because he's the last person who should be apologizing in this situation. Right. Everybody else is trying to avoid accountability. Joel Quenneville.
That was ridiculous that they let him continue to coach that game. Like, what the hell?
Kevin Cheveldayoff getting off basically scot-free. It's just a mess. I guess they did, X out Brad Aldrich's name from the Stanley Cup, which is like the least they can do.
Yeah.
But I saw this morning that the NHL Players Association is voting, or they did vote to approve like an independent investigation.
Yeah, good. And they should. This shouldn't be considered done and over with and handled. They should keep digging and keep looking.
Yeah.
Kyle Beach deserves that. Everyone deserves that.
Yeah.
And I'm frustrated and disappointed in the way some of the Blackhawks players and former players
for sure.
have handled this. I was a Jonathan Toews fan. I like the guy.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't at this point. Like the way he's talked about it, the way he's talked about the people involved, and the way that like so many of them just like apparently Duncan Keith just full on declined to participate.
He's like
It's ridiculous. Really it's ridiculous. This was a teammate. You are humans. This is a decade ago. You've had like lots of people saying, well, they were young. They were still kids too. Okay, but that was 10 years ago. And then there was a whole investigation you didn't cooperate with.
Exactly, yeah.
There's no excuse at this point.
The thing that gets me is that like, we've known about this for like a few months. It's been a couple weeks. And it's like now people are just trying to quickly move on or whatever.
No way.
Kyle Beach has been living with this for 11 years. Like, it's insane to think about that.
Yeah.
And the thing that gets
Speaking of
me
sexual assault, sorry, go on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I was going to say, talk about Barstool.
Well, I was going to just go back to like Rick Westhead and all that. Like, I saw the Professional Hockey Writers Association like put out this big statement about how the NHL didn't go to him for a question during the Gary Bettman presser.
Yeah, that's what I was saying before.
But it's like, at the same time, to me, it was very telling that it was a non-P, whatever, HWA reporter that broke the story in the first place.
Yeah,
like,
you're right.
How did
nobody
hear whispers?
No, they're part of the same closed door, batten down the hatches, toe the line culture because they want their access for the, and
exactly. So like, yeah, it's good that they had his back, but at the same time, I'm not giving anybody credit for
you don't get
following up on the story now and writing.
You don't get cookies for jumping on the coattails.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
For riding the waves when you ignored it to begin with. Yeah,
I hope it doesn't go away anytime soon, and that people are held accountable. There should still be changes in the PA, in the league even. It's just this should just be the beginning, I think, of
absolutely,
and hopefully the beginning of the end for Kyle Beach as he kind of gets
can move on.
Yeah,
for sure.
What else is going on in the world of?
Speaking of sexual assault,
yes,
Portnoy is in some hot water.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I tweeted yesterday.
Is this the end of him? Like, what do we think?
I don't think so. I don't know. I tweeted yesterday that I've never really consumed that website. I've never been a fan of the brand. The hockey podcast I've never listened to. And that, probably alienates a lot of people who perhaps listen to this podcast since it's like a Boston-based company, but, it goes against what I've tried to make this podcast into, which is like more inclusive and things like that. So I don't know
if this is where this is going to go. This is definitely, he posted one of his infamous like face-to-face videos yesterday and I watched a couple minutes of it out of curiosity. And he definitely realizes that this is like legit and not like some of the stuff that they've been able to get above in the past.
Right.
But I don't know. I wonder with everything going on, like, is this going to lead? I wonder if there's enough pressure from fans and even some players or whoever, if this leads to like an official distancing of the NHL and its players from Barstool.
You'd like to see that for sure. I know I was disappointed yesterday that like in the Bruins posted like a video leading into last night's game and Charlie McAvoy was wearing like a Barstool hoodie.
Yeah.
So that was like disappointing. I don't know if it was filmed before or after, but, and then even, going back to Jack Eichel, like he had like an exclusive interview.
Oh yeah. So many. Every favorite player you can think of has probably at some point or another done something with either Barstool or Spit and Chicklets or whatever. So I don't know. I have to see where that goes.
Yeah.
But something I'm watching also.
For sure.
This has been super uplifting and positive today, hasn't it?
Yeah. I don't know. What's a good story we can end on?
I don't know. Circle back to Bruins and Leafs tomorrow. It's the rivalry,
Yep. Yeah, I'm excited about that for sure.
And it should be a good game. It should be fun. I think the energy at SBA will be it's in Toronto, right? Yeah, that's what we talked about before. I think the energy will be pretty good. Saturday night hockey. It was smart to I wonder if I'll get the game. I don't think I'm blacked out from Bruins games in New York.
I would hope not.
I hope not.
I don't know if you saw last night, there's a picture of it going around. I think Gord Miller tweeted it this morning about there's like this fan behind the bench who's like full ass crack.
I did see a picture because I tweeted about my own superstition and which has to do with pants and hockey, and someone replied with that picture.
I was trying to make fart guy a new thing. Fart guy is the new dirt guy. Get it? Because his butt crack was showing.
Yeah, no, I get the joke. Thanks, Ian.
Okay. What else is going on this weekend, Mer? Any big plans?
You don't need to explain your humor to me. No, not really. For the first time in a while, no big plans this weekend. We had a fun Halloween. How about you?
Yeah, it was pretty good. It was nice and warm.
Yeah, it was gorgeous out.
Middle boy had like a pillowcase full of candy that he's still working on. And
and you got a cat. Have you talked about Bessie yet on the pod?
I've mentioned she has definitely made a odd audio appearance on the podcast.
Has she?
Hanging around. She's sweet.
Very cute. Have you told the podcast who named Bessie?
Well, I wouldn't say you named her. It was a name that we were bandying about.
Sure.
As a cow.
What are names that have to do with cows, Mer?
It was definitely a name that came up around the house as well.
Okay, fine.
I gave girl cow names a quick Goog, and Bessie comes up right away.
Yeah. Okay, fine. Whatever. I named Bessie.
Now, important question. Are you caught up on Succession?
No, I'm behind one episode.
I asked you to get caught up.
You did, but unfortunately, my evening schedule isn't determined by you, Ian. It's determined by my children going to sleep.
Unreal. Priorities. Anyways,
we'll probably watch tonight.
The newest episode was, definitely my favorite.
Yeah, that's the one we'll watch tonight. And yes,
there was a good. I won't spoil anything, but there was a very good musical number in there. Not a musical number, but music.
Like a montage?
Not a montage, but music is played that is
you liked the score of the episode? Is that what you're trying to say? Like, no, I don't understand.
In the episode, a song is played that brought me back to my teenage years.
Oh, so like something from the 60s, some classic rock?
Oh, hilarious. You don't watch Yellowstone, do you?
No, you've talked about Yellowstone a million times.
You have to watch
I know, but the episodes are long.
It doesn't matter. They're no longer
than... I'm impatient.
They're no longer than Succession.
Yeah, and I'm behind on Succession. You're yelling at me. I don't want to get yelled at about another show.
Season 4 begins on Sunday. Season 3, huge cliffhanger, and I cannot wait to see what happens. Probably those two shows are like the best current shows for me, I think.
Well, Ozark comes back in January, doesn't it? Is that when it comes back? Ozark comes back. We love Ozark.
That is true. I'm going to be watching.
Cobra Kai comes back soon.
Cobra Kai. There's a new season of Narcos that just dropped today that I'm excited about.
You watch so much TV. How
I know.
You watch this much TV? You have 3 children.
Yeah, but
you just ignore them? Like
no, they occupy themselves pretty well.
I never watch an episode. I never watch TV until they're sleeping.
We're watching the Spider-Man movies, the boys and I.
Oh, so yeah, we've seen all those.
Started number 2. But they like after dinner, before bedtime, they're off playing Fortnite.
So are mine. I guess I could watch TV then.
I try to sneak in a show or two
that
at
makes
that
sense.
point. And then afterwards.
Huh. Okay. Well, your kids are older than mine too. Let's see.
That is true. And one of them goes to bed at like 7. So
I can't believe he still does that. I need to know your tricks because my youngest is not asleep till like 9:30 these days.
That's very nice. Well, is there anything else you wanted to add? Anything you wanted to plug? Are you back to writing for?
Occasionally, I've written a couple things. I did a pregame. I've done some player stuff at TLN DC on Twitter, the Leafs Nation.
Weren't you guys doing a podcast?
There's a weekly podcast on Mondays. I've been on maybe 3 or 4 times. Mondays are hard for me because I work, but I try to hop in when I can. But yes, there is a weekly podcast talking about the Leafs. If anyone listening to a Bruins podcast is interested.
Probably not.
You never know. That's really it. That's all, that's all, folks.
Well, Leafs Bruins on Saturday. I'll be tweeting about it for sure. So follow along at Locked NHL Bruins or at Ian C. McLaren. I'll probably post a YouTube video up afterwards as well.
And I'm sure that Ian and I will be chirping each other on Twitter during the game.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, for sure.
Either that or I'll be posting our WhatsApp conversations for everyone to see.
True. Well, thanks, Mer, for jumping on. A couple heavier topics this week, but that's just how hockey works sometimes. Unfortunately,
you got to deal with it all.
Yep.
Can't ignore it.
Well, have a good weekend, and we will record it again in a fortnight.
See you then.
All right. Thanks, Mer.